If you're learning combos first in BDO and you have them set down on the screen like this, you're playing the game wrong. The biggest mistake new PvP players is trying to look flashy before they learn how to stay alive. Before damage, before combos, before catches, there's something else you need to learn. Hello guys, welcome back to another one. So, I will speak to you about what it is that you need to learn. So step one that I want you to do is, I want you to go in and play with Edit UI. You see all these small boxes, right? I want you to put everything for movement and protected high damage abilities. Okay, that's it. No combo, no nothing. You just put them like where you like. This is the way I do it. Some people like to put it down here, some people put it like just on the left side, but make sure like all the way down here, up here, over here, or over here is not a good option. It's bad. It doesn't matter what game you play. I'm not the best in BDO by far, but I do have 20 years of MMO experience, and if there's something I do know, you want to be able to track cooldowns within your field of view. Your field of view is not up here. It's not down here. It's also not down here or here. Anyone who played on a high level in any game knows this. So start playing around with your UI. The next thing you do is you find out what all the movement abilities are, and then you go in to skill here, right? You just put them, depending on the class. If it's like Musa, well, right click, good job. Other classes need to chain together 14 different abilities, and some classes can just chain the 3-4 same abilities over and over and over. Some classes need to chain some movement, stop up, block, and then, you know, like, so it really depends on your class, but the idea remains the same. You want to understand which part are Iframe and super armor movement abilities. Those are the only ones you care for at the moment. So what is an iframe? So an iframe, you can see here, is the red one, right? That means I am completely invulnerable to everything. Nothing can touch me when I'm in an iframe, right? That's what iframe means. It means invulnerability frame. So in this frame, I'm invulnerable, okay? I'm immortal, pretty much, right? Super armor, they should just call it CC immunity or damage reduction, but I don't know. Super armor is fine, I guess. But what it really does, it depends on the class again. For all classes, it protects you against all CC except for grab. And there are some exceptions with vacuums and some stuff like that, right? But besides that, it protects you from all CC most of the time, except for grabs and some things with vacuums. There are some niche things there. And then the other thing it does, depending on the class, I am not 100% sure, but for Musa it's 15% damage reduction, I know that. I'm not sure if Striker is like 20 or 25%. Some classes has, I think, 10%. I'm pretty sure Deadeye has no damage reduction in super armor. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You can do the research on your own class. I'm not here to teach you how to play your class. I'm here to teach you how to approach the game, no matter what class you play. This will not fail you, no matter what. Okay. So as you can see here, I lined up all my abilities, right? I lined them all up, and I put below some kind of you see, I can see the keybind below, right? So you see. The way you do that is that you go in here and then you just click OK, you want it in cooldown slot 1, and then you type down whatever you want, right? Usually you just have to type whatever cooldown it really is, right? So the next thing you want to do, because you are learning this, is that you go into settings. You go into general, show and hide, you scroll down, and you find defense icons, okay? That is what gives me this icon right here. So now I can see if I am perma protected, right? If I'm leaving a gap open, if I'm fucking up, And then all you do is you can do this in the town if you want, you can do it, but don't go to war with anyone, just play around, okay? Just play around, see what makes sense, don't follow a guide, just find all the protected movements, okay? The next thing you do is that you find your protected abilities, and that does like big damage. Only the super armors. I don't know about a lot of iframe big burst damage, but there's a lot of super armors, okay? Hold off with frontal guard for now, because frontal guard is very situational, okay? So this one, for example, is a super armor. Then I can hold F again, and it's still a super armor. Then I can move a little bit, right? And then I can do it again, you see? And now I can move a little bit, right? So now I am moving, doing damage, so now I can like move, do damage, right? And then I can move, then play around with the camera, see like what you can really do. So that was a frontal guide, we don't want to do that right now. And now you just keep tracking. This game is about muscle memory, okay? It's about memorizing. It's not something you will learn in 1 day or 2 days or a week. It's something you learn like maybe after a month. You need to consistently don't play against anyone, right? Don't play against anyone. For now, you just learn how to do movement and protected abilities, right? So I can do this one, for example, and then play around with the camera angles, like what camera, like can you change the camera action, right? And like in what direction? And then play around with it. When you feel ready, then that's when you remove the text. Why do you want to remove the text? It's basically psychology, right? So the reason you want to remove the text is because as long as the text is here, your eyes will be glued to this. It's just human nature. Some people suffer more from it than others. Some would refer to this as tunnel vision, and it's fine. Everybody tunnel visions, especially when they're learning. The important part is that when you learned that this is ADLMB, this is forward RMB, this is, you know, right click, left click, right? This is shift F, forward F, for example. Once you learn like what the keybinds really are by looking at the icons, then you remove the text. Your eyes might still be glued here, because now you really are like, fuck, I don't have the text anymore. But that's fine. That is like the next step. We're moving up the chain, right? So yeah. So this is like learning how to move protected. If you just spam like this, you will run out of stamina. Okay? Which brings me to the next thing. That is why we wanna like move. We wanna find an ability that is also protected, right? And then we do damage with that ability, and then we like move again, for example. And then we do like a damage with an ability, and then we move again, and then we do some damage with an ability, right? And then, you know, now you learn to do this. It's nothing about min-maxing the damage. The damage is gonna, I'm not gonna say suck, but it's gonna be worse than someone that knows what they're doing all the time. But this is the only way to get better than 90% of the player base. If you play like this, you can obviously just put your whole combo, all your movement skills, but I promise you, you will just sit glued here and you will play very scripted, and it will work for 80% of people, but you will only be better than like the average player. If that's what you want, go for it. But if you're really aiming to be amongst the best, for some people, the technique that I'm showing you might take a month. For other people, it might take 3 months or 6 months. It really depends on how fast you learn, how good you are at muscle memory. But muscle memory is not learned in a day, okay? And you don't want to play scripted, because against really top players, they will farm you when you play scripted. So the next thing that brings me to is Frontal Guard. Frontal Guard blocks damage and CC, but only from the front. And it is mostly a PvE tool, but it's also very valuable in PvP if you understand spacing and positioning, right? You can only do that by practice, right? So now you find all your Frontal Guard abilities and you learn which one is what. and then you find someone to duel with 1v1, okay? Because that is a less stressful environment. So now you start practice. So you learned your movement, you learned your SA, trading, your iframes, all of these. And now you start finding out what is your like frontal guards that are really good. You need to figure out like what is the highest damage, which abilities are really good, what has like a fast animation, yada yada, right? And also it allows you not to take damage frontal guard, right? So this is where most people mess up. If you spam protection, like I told you before, your stamina bar, you can look at my... You see, if I do this all the time, look at my stamina bar, right? I'm not gonna last long if I keep doing this. Right? Sure, it looks cool right now, but, you know, if I keep spamming like this, then, you know, you will end up like a wet noodle, and you see that was like, I don't know, 10-15 seconds, right? So don't do that. We want to learn how to move protected and use abilities in between to do what is called catches or just damage. It is up to you to assess the situation, if you can go for a catch or if you can just do damage. Depending on the class you play, Deadeye don't play for catches anymore, they just play for damage. So for me it's pretty easy. I find the class to be semi-difficult for me personally. Some people say it's easy, but for me it's semi-difficult. But I don't have to play for catches, right? So that is a good thing. But I need to manage my stamina, because without stamina I cannot sustain pressure without killing myself. And I need stamina to always be able to move and make sure that I don't get caught and all these things, right? That I control the pace of the fighting. If you are on your back foot in a game like this, you are highly likely going to lose the game. There's a high chance you are losing if you are on your back foot, right? So only after you understand protected movement, then you can start thinking about, like I said, the catches and the damage. And even your damage should be protected, as I also mentioned, with the SA and the frontal guard. Don't throw random unprotected skills hoping that something lands and that you are trying to find that gap where they can't CC you, because that requires that you understand spacing, positioning, and you understand the enemy's classes as well, right? Which brings me into the next thing. Combos are not important. Combos only matter after you get a catch. Combos are made so that you can maximize your DPS in a CC window. For some classes it's different, but it's let's go into BA here. We'll go into BA. So depending if you play 1v1, small scale like AOS, or large scale. In large scale, you never want to use anything unprotected. Like, unless you literally are like 2,000 miles away and you're an archer and you can shoot an arrow to La La Land or something. But that is not 99% of classes. That is literally just 1 or 2 classes that can do that, pretty much, right? So combos is like, how do I explain this? So I just had to swap class here. So, how do I showcase this, right? As you can see, you can CC, right? That counts as 1, but that counts as 2, right? Now they are immune. What combos are made for is how much damage you can get in the window while they are CC'd, if that makes sense. You see, that is a 0.7, right? Also known as a half CC. So the way you can do this is like, I can have CC, then I can do some damage, right? Then I can re-CC and then finish off my opponent, like that, right? So that is more about, that is not important to understand right now. It was just to showcase. That is also, by the way, not a perfect combo or anything. It was just like, so this is not something you want to learn. You don't want to go like, oh, I need to do this, then I need to do this, then this, then this. Like, you don't this is not necessary, because this is only necessary when you caught someone, they are on the floor, and you can kill them, right? It is more important that you learn how to, 1, make sure you don't get caught, and 2, understand how to catch them. The next thing you want to learn before any kind of combos or CC rotations or whatever, instead of memorizing one set combo, you need to learn a priority system. Know what CCs you have, right? So for me, my 2 main CCs are here. Obviously I got other things as well, but those are the 2 ones I rely the most on, right? As you can see, none of these things CCs, but this one does, right? And then I can re-CC with that one. So I also have more than that. There's a stun, for example, but I have my CC in a category on its own. Those are my 2 most used ones. I don't use this one much because it's non-protected, remember? This is like, you really have to understand spacing between people. I fuck this up so much as well. I'm trying to learn, like, you can do stuff like that and then, you know, but protected CC, okay guys? That's what you want to know, okay? Then you want to know what your buffs are. For me, they are here. Those are my buffs. And then I spin to the side, right? Those are the, like, the 3 main ones. It's attack speed, crit, and AP. This is where add-ons comes in as well. And that helps you learn and understand, like, what you want to do for, don't bother with my add-ons right now, I'm just testing a lot of stuff. You want to understand, right? For example, this one right here, I put accuracy and minus evasion, but it also already does minus evasion, right? So you can see it's a double minus evasion, right? So that is another way of understanding. So now you understand what your CCs are, you understand your buffs and your debuffs, and your highest damage abilities that are protected, and you understand your movement. And now you need to ask yourself, how much damage can I safely deal before I need to re-CC? So that's what I tried to show you before, was what you call a re-CC, right? So let's see here, right? So that is how long I could do that. So right before he gets up, I want to re-CC, right? So let me show again. In this case, right? Let's see. Let's wait for him. Let's wait. Let's wait. Let's wait. Now he's getting up. Re-CC, right? There are some classes that are better at doing this than others, specifically warrior and ninjas and stuff like that. But that's how you actually improve, guys. Now comes the last thing. Now you can learn a combo. But most of the time, you need to apply pressure as well, right? So you need to, like, do a protected, for example, a protected ability, right? You poke a little bit, you try to get a catch. Oh, I got a catch. Now you just have to play around with what you have already. So you just... And now because you understand everything, you don't need a combo. You just need to track cooldowns and do some SA trades, catch the enemies, you understand how to move, you understand how to buff, debuff, right? As I showed, right? Like buff, right? And debuff. For example, this one debuffs evasion, right? There's this one right here. Also reduces damage reduction. There's a lot of things, and you can also make other things by putting them on add-ons as well. And you need to understand this, how you want to play your class in terms of these things. Another mistake I see people often do is they will go in, right? They will do their whole wombo combo, whatever, blah 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 blah, and then they'll be like, oh no, I need to run away. And now they left their teammates fighting over there. Don't do that. Like, let's say they're fighting here, right? You can find a place where you can like backpedal, whatever, up against the wall with frontal guard, but stay nearby and be ready to help. Because let's say this guy gets caught, well, now you have your cooldowns again. and they can't combo your friend, for example. This is mainly for small scale, right? So small scale I refer to as AOS. There are some windows if you're like really good where you can do like non-protected stuff, and there are some windows where but I wouldn't recommend it at all. Just stay protected, learn all your movement, learn your protected damage, highest damage abilities, learn your buffs, your debuffs, your CCs, and play around with that. And I promise you, you will already there be better than 80% of the players, right? Then you need to learn to understand how to position and the spacing between you and the enemies. That requires that you sort of know what the enemies are doing. And all of these things are more important than combos. And somehow, if I make a combo video, more people will click on that than on this one. And so I will finish the video by saying the most important thing in BDO is muscle memory. It's not something you can rush. You're going to fail a lot, and that's normal. I had people calling me names and noobs and whatever, and I still have a lot to learn. But I just keep going because I know with these tools that I just give you guys, if you follow those, you will be better eventually than those elitist players that played for 9 years that are fucking one-trick ponies that just follow a certain system because they're scripted. Okay, they're scripted players, and it's not gonna work for them in the end. All right, they will reach a level where they cannot go any higher, and it's really hard for them to let go of their egos. So they have to, you know, unlearn everything they learned and basically start from scratch, where I'm telling you to start now. And like I said, don't be afraid, and please don't become that one trick. Play the class that you actually enjoy. Sure, there are metas, there are anything, but if you don't enjoy it, your learning curve is going to be so much steeper. I promise you. If you don't enjoy, and I've seen almost all classes do pretty well in most content. Like, sure, there are some exceptions, but and I'm pretty sure there's so many classes that you could probably find 2 classes that you enjoy, right? And the next thing is, like, just stop caring so much about winning or losing. Just play to improve. And if you do that, if you focus on getting better instead of looking flashy, the wins will follow, right? You might lose a shit ton in the beginning, right? And that's okay, right? So stay positive, guys. Help each other. And let's get out of this, yeah, elo hell or whatever it is you want to get out of. One last note: if you do Node War, right? If you do Node War, protected movement, biggest ability, 1, 2 abilities, get the fuck out. Okay. So that's all for me. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.